Hello and welcome to True Guidance Tarot. I'm Adriana Teodoro-Dier. I'm a spiritual medium and intuitive reader. Today with a message for Scorpio. I have asked for some information from my guides and from Spirit to come through and give you a really deep and meaningful message. I'm not sure that this one is particularly deep because it's pretty on the nose, but I hope that it has some deep meaning for you and really help support you on your journey this week. If at any point you feel compelled to like or subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. It really helps when you support the channel, and it's so appreciated. Let's get straight to your reading. Now, the first thing they said to me when I saw these two cards together was caregiver. So I'm talking about someone who routinely and habitually puts themselves in the role of taking care of others. So others' needs come first, that kind of person. So we've got the Eight of Pentacles as the energy around you, and we've got the King of Cups as you. So we're talking about the King of Cups devoting his emotional energy, devoting that caregiving, that emotionally nurturing energy, but the way that you give it to people all the time. And it's not just, I'm a nice person and I'm a good listener. This is like I devote my entire emotional output to taking care of X. And I'm not feeling like it's a lot of people. We're talking about the people that you really give your all to. And this is something that you're just doing over and over and over and over. And so not a lot of this energy goes back to you, from you. You're not giving yourself the same nurturing and support and care that you're giving this other person. So the cards are trying to shake you up a little bit. We've got the Hierophant, we've got the Tower, we've got the Ten of Cups, and then we've got the Queen of Cups. Now, I know that this is a lot of cups, right? And you're Scorpios. This is a lot of watery, emotional energy going on. The Hierophant is the way things have always been, connected to this Eight of Pentacles, that earthly energy. The way things have been, the way things are going to be. So the structures that are already in place. And this Tower comes through and it says, that old way ain't working anymore. And it almost feels like this Ten of Cups is kind of a double placement, meaning the Tower is affecting the Ten of Cups, but then something happens with the Ten of, let me just tell you. So that the Hierophant is the way things were, that dedication to the caregiving, the giving of yourself for other people without giving to yourself. And the Hierophant is like, that's the way it is. This is the way it's going to be forever. We're just going to keep doing this because I'm comfortable doing this over and over and over. But the Tower comes in and says, that's not sustaining anymore. That's not going to work for me anymore. I'm a different person now. I have different things to do. That's not going to work for me. And we get the Ten of Cups. So it's trying to pull apart that relationship that you have to the way you feel you have to be. That's So I'm not saying it's trying to tear your relationship apart. I'm not saying that you should stop showing up for this person, but it's the belief that the other person comes first and that you come second, and you have taken that belief to mean wholeness. You're like, well, that's what it takes to be whole. The other person is more than me. My identity goes way in there. And it's more than just your identity. It's like you become that person and you take on that person's struggles and you take on that person's karma. You take on that person's life and soul. And these cards are saying, split that up. That's theirs. Yours is yours. This is theirs. And we have the Queen of Cups, and I feel more than I've ever felt before that we're talking about emotional independence. When I drew the cards, you notice the King and Queen are going opposite directions. It's not this way, it's this way. So it's saying you need to stand up and be emotionally independent. Your emotional belonging doesn't hinge upon you giving up everything of yourself so that you can emotionally take care of someone else. This has to do with you taking care of yourself and responding to your own emotional impulses, your own emotional needs. And your creativity is going to shoot through the roof. I am seeing that. Your vitality and your zest for life is just going to go straight through the roof because you've stepped into your own emotional independence. And it's not just emotional independence, it's also the independence of your intuitive path. So there's things that your soul wants you to do. There's places your soul wants you to go. And you have felt the echoes of them. It's kind of, I don't know if I can explain this. It's like you feel echoes of the future, which is a funny thing to say because we usually hear echoes of what's ever already happened. But it's like you hear these echoes of the future and they're beckoning you on, like, come and discover us, come and see what's next for you, come and see what's in store. But when you keep your identity so tied to the identity and the personality and the soul lessons of someone else, you can't actually break free and find your own intuitive footing. What I love about this card, and I've said this a million times in the readings, is that she's not looking at her feet. Her feet know exactly where to take her. But when your eyes are looking at that other person, you see he's looking at a little seahorse, and you're dedicated. We've got that, this dedication card here. What do you call this? 8 of Pentacles. When you're dedicated to always looking at the other person, and the other person is always in your sights, your feet don't know where to go because they're following your eyes. They're following the other person. They're following the path of something that isn't really you. And so this is about you stepping aside in your individuality. It's interesting because I don't necessarily see it this way, but some people feel the queens are more powerful than the kings. And in this deck, I feel like they have their own things to offer. They have their own strengths to offer, but I can understand that because I do feel and I see, compared to these other cards, I see a power, and it's like an all-consuming power with this particular card here when you step aside and then you start to follow your own path. So, practically speaking, I'm not saying that you drop your caregiving responsibilities, but you drop your emotional attachment to your identity as a caregiver. So you can still be a caregiver. You can still care for the people you love. You can still show up for them, but you understand that your first calling, your first point of duty, your first port of call is to you, is to your soul, is to your intuition, and to your life path only. The funny thing with Scorpios is we're trying to overcome ourselves. We're trying to transmute and transform ourselves, but often we project that inner struggle onto other people. So we think by taking care of the other person that we're actually taking care of ourselves. And so this is where Scorpio gets a lot of their bad rep. But here it's just pulling you off of your path. It's like your energy isn't going where it needs to go. So if you have questions about that, please reach out in the comments. I'm very happy to clarify that for you. And I look forward to seeing you next week. If you feel like you need some follow-up or some deeper support, I am available for you. You can check out my website in the description below and see if anything is resonating for you at this time. I'll see you next week and have a good one.